Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, let us discuss a poem by Sarojini Naidu, Love and Death. Sarojini Naidu was born in a Bengali Hindu family in 1879 at Hyderabad and was educated in places such as Chennai, London and Cambridge. She was an Indian independence activist and also a poet. She took part in the national movement, became a strong follower of Mahatma Gandhi, and fought for the attainment of Swaraj. She is known as the Nightingale of India. She was one of the designers of the Indian Constitution. Sarojini Naidu was the first Indian woman to become the president of the Indian National Congress and also the first woman to become the governor of the state of Uttar Pradesh. Her birthday is celebrated as Women's Day all over India. Her poetry includes children's poems, nature poems, patriotic poems, and also poems of love and death. Her first volume of poetry was The Golden Threshold, which was published in the year 1905, and it was followed by The Bird of Time. And in 1914, she was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature. Her collected poems, all of which she wrote in English, have been published under the titles The Sceptred Flute and The Feather of the Dawn. So let's move on to the poem Love and Death. It is a sonnet. It's a Petrarchan sonnet and it is from the collection The Bird of Time. It's one of Sarojini Naidu's finest poems. The octave depicts the ideal of love like Savitri. The poet dreams that her love has freed her beloved from death. But the sestet reveals the hard and cruel reality which forces the poet to accept that her love has not been able to mitigate even one throe of pain, let alone bring the beloved back from death. In this poem, Sarojini Naidu depicts a picture of a devotional Indian wife who is by the side of her singing husband. Even though she knows in reality that death is certain, but in her subconscious mind, this faithful wife, like Savitri, dreams that her husband would recover. Her thoughts and desires that could not be fulfilled in waking reality had its fulfillment in her dream. So let's discuss the poem in detail. I dreamed my love had set thy spirit free, enfranchised thee from fate's overmastering power, and girt thy being with a scatheless dower of rich and joyous immortality. Of love I dreamed my soul had ransomed thee in thy lone, dread, incalculable hour from those pale hands at which all mortals cower, and conquered death by love like Savitri. So here in this poem, the writer depicts a picture of devotional Indian wife. She was very much tired, her eyelids heavy with keeping awake night after night, her soul burdened with the grief of the coming inevitable hour. With her tired body, this devoted wife falls asleep. And so this woman, she was very much tired and she was by the side of her singing husband. She was very much tired that she took care of her husband all through these days. And she knows in reality that death is very much certain. But in her subconscious mind, this faithful wife dreams that her husband would recover. And conquer death by love like Savitri. So here the writer uses the tale of Satyavan and Savitri, which is recited in the Mahabharata, as a story of conjugal love conquering death. Savitri, being a faithful wife, she was very much devoted to her husband, and so and in the tale which was recited in Mahabharata, it was written that Lord Yama was forced to give back the life of Satyavan and bless them with a long and prosperous life. So this Savitri was always considered to be a faithful wife. She is often offered as the example of the ideal wife. She was very much devoted to her husband. So the writer here compares this woman to that of Savitri. So here in the first octave, the speaker imagines that her love gives her beloved the matchless dowry of immortality, which protects him from the cruel hands of overmastering fate. And she dreams that her love has ransomed him from death itself, like Savitri had saved Satyavan from death. So Savitri, who is the symbol of India's true wife's devotion and power, like that, this woman also dreams that her love for her husband has ransomed him from death itself. But in the sestet, from the 9th line onwards, the poem turns. The dream is over. When I awoke, alas, my love was vain, even to annul one throe of destined pain, or by one heartbeat to prolong thy breath. O love, alas, that love could not assuage the burden of thy human heritage, or save thee from the swift decrees of death. So here the sestet reveals the hard and cruel reality, which forces the poet to accept that her love hasn't been able to mitigate even one throe of pain. So here the dream is over. The speaker wakes up to the harsh reality. Her love has been unable to put an end even one throe of predestined pan, to prolong her lover's breath even by one heartbeat. Okay, so here the reality is portrayed. The dream is over and the poet wakes up to that harsh reality. That means she understands that her husband could not be saved. Okay, so this poem is very much modern in spirit, in that it refutes the ideal represented by Savitri. Savitri in the tale manages to win back life for her dead husband Satyavan, but here this woman, she dreams for such a situation, but in reality she knows that it is not possible. She knows in reality that death is certain, but in her subconscious mind she dreams that her husband would recover. Okay, so her thoughts and desires that could not be fulfilled in waking reality had its fulfillment in her dream. In her dream, she wished that she dreamt that her husband was saved from death. But in reality, it was not like that. Okay, that death is certain. But in her subconscious mind, she longs that her husband would recover. So here this poem, it contains an argument, a debate. The debate is between a certain ideas of love, which asserts that love conquers all odds, even triumphing over death. So this is all about the poem Love and Death by Sarojini Naidu.